Okay, so this is writing one variable equations and inequalities. I thought that I made this video a while ago and posted it, and it wasn't actually posted. So I know Coach Elkins has already put the notes up in class, so I'm going to kind of just skim over the notes, and then this is mainly for homework help anyway. So when we talk about inequalities, just remember that the inequality sign always eats the bigger side. It's always opened up to the bigger side. So say we have this side and this side, our alligator mouth would open up towards that, and it could be that, or it could be equal to. Same thing if it was the other way around. Always eats the bigger side. Keywords to look for: per, each, and every, because that's going to tell you where you need to put your variable or your letter. You can also find that information in the question. Whatever the question's asking you, that'll usually kind of hint to you what the variable is representing. So look at the keywords and plug in numbers to solve tables. So I'm going to go ahead and skip over to the homework side. Okay, here's the homework. So for these tables, we have the number of miles M and the total amount charged C. So for the number of miles, we're just going to start with this first one. We've got 5 and we've got 30, 50. So I'm going to plug in this number here for anywhere I see M. So that's going to be 5, 5, 5. And so the goal is we're going to solve this whole thing, and whichever one gives us $30.50 is going to be our correct answer. If we happen to get 2 that work, then we would go to the next number and we would use 10 and 31. But we're going to start with 5. So in my calculator on A, I'm going to write 0.10 times 5. I'm going to solve for that. 0.10 times 5 is 0.5. And then I'm going to add 30, so plus 30. And really you could put that whole thing in the calculator because it'll do automatically, it'll do PEMDAS, but just for now I'm doing it separately. Okay, and I get 30.5, which is what matches up here. Just to make sure though, I'm going to go ahead and try the rest of them. So B, I've got 30 times 5, which is 150, plus 0.10, which is 150.1. So that one does not work. I'm going to erase all of this so it doesn't confuse us. And I'm going to mark that answer choice out because we're done with it. Doesn't work, we don't need it. The next one, I'm going to do this 0.50 times 5. 0.50 times 5 is 2.5 plus 30. And that equals 32.5. And that is not what we have up here. So again, I'm going to get rid of this so we don't get confused. And I'm going to mark that one out. And really already, since B, we did 30 times 5 and it gave us a really big number, you can assume that it's going to be too big on this one also, but just if you are curious, we can go ahead and solve just to make sure it doesn't work. Plus 0.5, yeah, so that's 150.5. That is too big. Okay, so our answer on that one's going to be A on number 1. Looking at number 2, Veronica is ordering trophies for her school. Company P charges $3.50 for each trophy and a one-time engraving fee of $25. And then Company R charges $7.50 for each trophy and a one-time fee of $17. Which inequality can be used to find X? The minimum number of trophies that can be ordered so that the total charge at Company P is less than R. So I'm going to write that down. I want P to be less than R, because that's going to be the tricky part when you get to the end, is figuring out which sign is supposed to go where. So now to plug in my numbers, I'm going to look back where I had Company P, It's $3.50 for each trophy and a one-time fee of $25. So there's that keyword each that we need to determine where our variable or our letter is going to go. So I'm just going to write 3.5x, because that's what I'm going to use for my variable, plus the fee of 25. So 3.5x plus 25. A and B look pretty good, but C and D are not so good because they put the variable on the wrong numbers. So without even doing the other side, I'm going to get rid of those. And then on R, it's $7.50 for each trophy and a fee of $17. And I need to look at the sign I wrote down and find the one that matches it. I'm going to skip number 3. That one's kind of short. Number 4, Maya and Persia are both saving money for their summer vacations. They both began saving at the same time. Maya started, I'm going to highlight her name so I don't get confused. Maya started with $58.25 and adds $20.45 to her savings every month. Okay, then we've got Persia. She did not have a starting amount, so she started at 0, but adds $32.75 to her savings every month. Which equation could be used to determine how many months it will take before Maya and Persia both have the same amount of money? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put an M and a P, and it says the same, so it's not an inequality, it's just an equal sign. So really the main thing we need to look for is to make sure that the numbers are paired up correctly. So Maya should have 58.25 and 20.45. So these two numbers should be on the same side of the equal sign. So A has 58 and 20, 58 and 32. So B is out. C has 58 and 20, and D has 20 and 58. Okay. So now we want to see where the variables should go. So for Maya, she started with that, so that's not something that should have a variable. But she adds 20.45 every month, and it told us she's adding. So already I can look at C where it says subtracting, and we can get rid of that. And for P, it should just be $32.75. She didn't start with anything, and she's adding this amount every month. And am I crazy, or are those the same? I think this was one that needed to be fixed. Your Schoology assignment will probably have a different answer choice. But unless I'm going crazy, these look the same to me. So when you fill out your Schoology, whichever one of those is correct, which matches this that we wrote down, then that's your answer. Okay, some of these I'm just going to kind of breeze through, not necessarily solving them. Lance and John are racing remote-controlled cars. Lance's travels at 5.1 feet per second. There's your variable. And John's car travels 7.2 feet. Oh, I should do a different color. John's car travels 7.2 feet per. There's the variable. Because Lance's car is slower, John gave Lance a 12-foot head start. So where Lance's is, I'm going to put a plus 12 because he's getting a little bit of a head start, which could be determined after how many seconds John's will be ahead of or greater than Lance. Okay, so let's plug in the information we know. On Lance, he was 5.1 feet per second. That per tells us where the variable goes. And then plus 12, he gave him 12 extra feet. And then John just went 7.2 per second. And let's see. This one looks pretty good. Let's see, 15. Oh, 5.1 minus. No, he didn't take that away from him. That would be sad. He did not take away. 5.1 is on the wrong side on C. 5.1 is supposed to be with 12. And then this one This is telling us that Lance was greater than John, and that is not true. So that one's going to be A. I just said I wasn't going to solve that one, and look what I just did. Yep, not bad. Okay. I'm going to skip number 6. That one's pretty straightforward. It's the inequalities that give people a hard time. Okay, so here's a newborn elephant, weighs 252 pounds. She's going to gain 24.5 pounds per week. That's what you need till she reaches adulthood. A newborn whale is $3.95 and will gain 19. I should probably use a different color. The whale is $3.95 starting out, and then will gain 19 pounds per week. So we want an inequality that will show the number of weeks needed for the weight of a newborn elephant, E, to be greater than or equal to the weight of a newborn killer whale. So when you're looking at your answer choices, you need to make sure the numbers that are paired up in the story are paired up on the correct side of the inequality sign, and then make sure your final inequality sign matches. 7. Let's see. Okay, Matthew needs to buy some uniform shirts for his new job. Store A sells uniforms for $12 each. Store B sells shirts for $14 each. Matthew has a Store A coupon for $10 off. So if you have a coupon for something, they're going to subtract that money, so you don't have to pay that. And then he has a coupon for Store B for $20 off. So you need to be looking for subtraction in those two areas. Kind of the same thing on number 9. There's ABC Tiling will install tile for $4.75 per square foot. There's your variable. And they're offering a discount. Discount is the same as a coupon. That means we're going to be subtracting. And then you've got XYZ flooring. That'll do wood for $2.25 per square foot plus a fee. Fees are always by themselves of $65. So we need an inequality that can be used to determine F, the number of square feet of flooring covered to make installing tile. So the ABC tile, we want that to be less than or equal to the wood. Number 10 is a table similar to number 1. Number 11 is not too bad. I'm just going to go look at the final question. The amount of money in Ashley's account greater than Brady's account. These you're going to solve. Make sure you turn 2.5 into a decimal. Make it a little bit easier on yourself. 4/5. You would think I would have that memorized. I don't know why. 3.8.